All right, y'all. Attempt number 2. Me and Corin doing the podcast. Old school fashion. The shit got fucked up within the first 3 minutes for no reason. But we're back.
And always when we say it, literally we're hopping on, we're like, oh, no tech issues tonight. Mad tech issues right now. So, I mean, that's just how we rock.
I know. I don't even know. Your audio shit on my end is still flickering when you talk, which I've never seen before. So I don't know if that's going to be a problem until after this, but I guess we'll find out the hard way.
Yeah.
So the whole conversation might end up not even posting, but let's hope it does. Let's hope there's no other problems. Let's just roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, we were just talking before the tech shit the bed that I asked you how cooked you think we are as a country.
Yep.
And you said that your buddy who's a Marine texted you and said, what's the plan if we have to go underground?
Yeah, so randomly texted me tonight. He said, my question is, what is the plan if we need to go underground? He said, I'm halfway between thinking I'm underreacting and overreacting. So I go between these people are so dumb and they're going to make our lives suck for a bit. And these people know exactly what they're doing and will keep us going until stopped by force.
Yeah, I think it's both things. I think it's extra crazy because these people are, without a doubt, the dumbest people in the country. But also they're devious and evil, right? And I'm talking about Trump. I'm talking about Elon. I'm talking about the whole gaggle of idiots in the administration making all these decisions, all the Republicans that are elected. So I think it's both things. And I was just tweeting about this the other night. Movies led us to believe that supervillains are always brilliant and they're conniving and clever and devious and planning shit. And the reality is they're actually some of the dumbest, least impressive people in the world. And they also happen to be evil, which is just a horrible, horrible mix. Yep. And so I was talking to my mom yesterday because I was curious her thoughts on it. And my mom is not very political. She's voted in her life for Republicans. She's voted for Democrats. She's the classic independent swing voter type person, right? Doesn't follow stuff too closely, but knows a little bit and stuff. And when I was talking to her, the thing she brought up, she was like, what the fuck are they talking about with Greenland?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why are they threatening Greenland and saying we're going to take Greenland? And why are they going there? And when my mom is at that place where she's like, these people are fucking dangerous as fuck.
Yep.
Then we're in a place where shit is going downhill and going downhill fast, dog.
Yep. I mean, I agree with your mom. I was going to ask you what the fascination with Greenland is. Why all of a sudden are these politicians flying there? Are they tweeting like Charlie Kirk's going there and vice president's going there? Everyone's visiting Greenland. I don't know what the fascination is. So to me, that scares me. It also scares me that someone like Elon Musk is putting so much importance on a Wisconsin race and that he's paying people to go out and put up signs and is paying them. To me, that raises a red flag of some weirdness is going on, that he's so invested in that little race that something corrupt is either going to happen there with him in the future. So I personally think we're cooked as a country, but I told my friend that I think it'll still be around 10, 15 years, and then maybe there'll be some type of revolution. But I'm scared. I really think that there is going to be a lot of bad that comes from what's happening now. And I don't listen to a lot of what Trump says, but when he does speak, I kind of just scratch my head even more and put my face in my palm because I don't think he has a clue about anything. And it's kind of that thing I keep hearing on the radio is the Elon Musk with Doge and Trump are doing so much stuff that people are just getting disinterested of what's happening. So they're probably just doing the craziest things of making money for themselves and screwing up our country even more. So I think it'll still be a little bit because I think everything has to kind of run its course. But I think in 10, 15 years, I've always said this, the movie Day After Tomorrow came out and it took probably 10 years after for some global warming stuff to start happening. There's that new show on Apple TV or whatever where the guy from This Is Us, where it's they live in this this man-made built town underground in Colorado or something. So like I think people are starting to plan for like these underground living situations that eventually they're going to come to fruition.
Yeah, it's the first time in my life where I look at it and I'm like, I'm not sure we can get the train back on the tracks, dog. Like, it might be a wrap for
It's
real.
scary.
And
It's
to answer some of your questions there, you mentioned the Wisconsin thing.
yeah.
The corruption is literally out in the open. He's hosting these events and he's like, I'm gonna pay you $1 million. Somebody's gonna get $1 million for voting for this Republican candidate. That's illegal.
Yeah.
It's completely illegal to just fucking pay up front for some votes. And they got this other thing. Oh, I'll pay you $100 too if you vote or get more people to vote or what. Like, this is so wildly illegal.
Yep.
And these are the same people who bitch about George Soros and they say that, like, oh, this guy's a corrupt billionaire controlling everything. Like, you're controlling it literally out in the open right now. Like, what are you talking about? And the reason he's doing it is because he's got legal problems in Wisconsin.
Oh.
And he knows that if the Democrat wins, then he's in trouble in front of the Supreme Court in Wisconsin. So they want the Republican to win because they'll just be a Trump and Elon cuck. And then there's also the thing about the next elections where they want to pack the courts with Republicans so that if they try to steal the next election, they'll have just a loyalist in there to be like, nope, Republicans win no matter what. And so there's that. And then on the Greenland thing, you asked me why are they doing it? The reasons are exactly what people think they are. So one of them is they got a lot of natural resources there, a lot of minerals, a lot of oil. With climate change happening, it's going to melt more and they're going to want to get the oil. And so they want it for that reason. Also, one of Trump's billionaire donors, Peter Thiel, he wants Greenland to experiment with it and make it like his little libertarian paradise over there. And so this guy gave a lot of money to Trump, and Trump's returning the favor, basically trying to deliver Greenland for him, which is just fucking insane. You have the person who Trump picked to be ambassador to Greenland is an ally of Peter Thiel. And when Trump said, we're going to take Greenland, he tweeted, like, everything's going according to plan. So this shit is wild, bro. This shit is wild. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it's just on every issue, on every single issue, he's moved us in the wrong direction by like a lot. Like, it's not even close. He's threatening 7 or 8 new wars, bragging about bombing Yemen, bragging about bombing Somalia. They're ripping up the Constitution and deporting people with no due process whatsoever. Like, the economy is fucking cratering.
Yeah,
and
that
yeah,
I
we
know.
should talk about the economy too. Yeah, because tell everybody what happened to you with your job.
Yeah, I was unfortunately laid off in December or November, and I work in the sports field, which is one, tough as it is, and two, I mean, like sports, non-sports, like everyone is just massively laying off a lot of their employees, and it's because of like a lot of these imports, the taxes, the stock market's crashing. So like obviously these brands are not hitting their goals. And I was affected by that. And I thought I would never be because I've done a lot for the company that I worked for. And now, I look at all these job postings and they're few and far in between. And then couple that with like these big announcements and postings that I see that companies just keep massively laying off more and more people. And then someone like my sister, she worked for, I think it was an agency, but they had a government contract and they laid off tons of people. Like she lost her job. Luckily they got a new contract, but she was affected by like the government cutting back on like all of these roles.
That's Elon.
Yeah.
That's Elon, what you're talking about.
And it's
yeah.
just wild because I saw you post something. It was like a meme or something like that. But like, there's a reason why no one likes him because he's like cutting all these jobs of like normal everyday Americans. And then on the flip side, he's saying he's like saving Americans all this money. And like, I don't know if your mom asked this, but I'll always say this is like, he keeps showing all the receipts for all this money he's saving and like everything that Doge is
It's all
doing.
bullshit.
But like,
it's all bullshit.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like, all right, are we going to see any of that money? Like you could say all you want. You could put clickers on the screen of how much money you're saving. But at the end of the day, if you're not putting money in like people's pockets or like roads aren't getting improved or like whatever, all I see and what most people should see is that a lot of people are losing jobs. So like at some point, the shit's going to hit the fan for him where they're going to say like, yo, I don't care how much you say you're saving, because we don't see any of this money, dog.
Yeah. So the government alone, they laid off anywhere between 100,000 to 250,000 people already. They laid off those government workers.
Crazy.
And then they cut all this. They cut pediatric cancer research and NIH funding and the Department of Education, and destroyed USAID, which gives like HIV medicine to people in developing countries and shit. And so they're destroying all that. They're now gunning after Social Security to try to take everybody's Social Security check. They're already cutting off payments to people and shit,
Crazy.
saying that they were dead when they weren't. Yeah, like all that's going on. And to your point, in the private sector now too, everybody sees now the market is absolutely imploding. It's tanking. And so that's going to also lead to layoffs. Now all the predictors are like, there's a 40% chance, they say, of a recession within the next year. I think it's way more than that with all Trump's craziness, and I'm putting the tariffs on and taking the tariffs off and putting them on and taking them off, and prices are going to skyrocket, which is basically like a tax increase on the bottom 90% of people. And so, yeah, what have you done? I know that you put out like a bunch of resumes, right? And you really, like, nobody's hiring, right?
I mean, so one thing that was like, that made me successful in my role was that like I was great at networking. I was great at building relationships with people. So I've done a lot of kind of outreach to people I know, for roles that I see that I like, you know, because one, it has to be the right opportunity. And like, this is something that I've kind of always been stubborn on, and whether it's good or bad, I kind of just want to be doing something that I want to do, you know, like I don't want to just take a job or get a job for the sake of getting a job. And whether that sounds bad, you know, like people will send me roles and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, like I'll maybe apply for it. But like, I can't get behind doing something that I don't really love and genuinely want to do. Does that make me crazy?
No, I mean, you spend the majority of your life at your job.
Yeah.
So you want to at least like it, if not love it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know that you loved your old job, which is why it sucks so much to get laid off.
Yeah.
But then I know you put out a bunch of resumes in the same field, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
but like nobody's fucking hiring.
No.
They're just like, nobody's hiring for shit.
Yep. And so that's the thing, is like I'll see a role that I like, and it'll be with like a bigger company, a bigger name company. So like, one, it's going to be tough to get that role ready, but I'll get it in the right hands. And it's either one, getting hired internally, because, you know, obviously they still have people at their jobs that maybe got affected by layoffs that are want to get a different role, or trying to advance their career, or two, it's getting filled by someone who's got a better connection than I have. So like, it's two strikes against me. So it's tough. I mean, but I have been sending out my resume. I have been still applying for stuff. But on the counter to that, you know, like I was very fortunate to kind of be your best friend, and kind of, you know, as you've grown your YouTube channel successfully, you know, I was always like, you know, I was in the basement with you and like kind of listened to you do your show, and like we would just chill, have some beers, and kind of just shoot the shit. And from that, like I was lucky enough for some people to kind of know who I am as well. And like you had always mentioned to me, like, yo, start your own channel. People are like interested in you. So I started it a while ago, and I'd been posting, like, you know, kind of a couple years back, and then took a little bit of a hiatus when I was like working at my job and kind of just focusing on that. But like I said, I was fortunate enough to still have done it enough where now I'm in a spot where I still have, you know, 6,000 subscribers. And I still have some archive of videos that people can go back and look on. And you come on the channel and kind of show love and gets a lot of views. But now I'm going to try out YouTube for a little bit. I've been posting some videos. I've been doing like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I've been doing like a food vlog, a workout vlog, a little kind of like some old collectibles I have, because since I'm like 13, I've got like Pokemon cards. I've got Pogs I just found yesterday or the other day. Sports memorabilia I've got a crazy amount of. So like I've got a good collection of stuff that I could like show off. It's just a matter of like getting more comfortable on the channel. And I've spoken to like one of my younger friends who does YouTube like content, like he's a video editor. And he was just like, all that will come with reps. You know, like as you get your reps in and as you start doing more, you'll get more comfortable. You'll start getting better content. And your content will kind of get better as you do it more and get more comfortable. So I've been trying that out. Hopefully some people have been liking the videos. I kind of am like trying. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Molly's been editing all of them and kind of just pushing me to do more.
So you guys, you set up a Patreon, right?
Yeah, I set up a Patreon.
You and Molly?
Yeah, I haven't really promoted it, but like I think she puts it at the bottom of each video. And there was one girl, shout out, she came on early. I think her name was like Emily. She gave me $3. She stayed for like a month, then she dipped off. So kind of fuck you for dipping off. But no, I'm just kidding. But then there was another kid who gave like $2 I saw. But like, yeah, like I think it's on at the bottom of each video. But started a Patreon. I know, like you say it, everyone says it. Like I appreciate whatever, but I am staying consistent with the YouTube. And if I wasn't, then I would feel bad like asking people for a little bit of a donation. But I have been staying consistent. I'm trying to stay consistent and really make this like a career. And see where it goes. The content, like I said, will hopefully develop and grow. And I'm going to try and learn more with YouTube. I don't know how to pull any of the videos in and like react to stuff, but I want to do more of that stuff too.
So yeah, you're going to try different things and react and do all sorts of stuff. That's a great idea. Here's an idea. This just occurred to me now, but I think it might make perfect sense. So first of all, everybody go hook a brother up with $2 a month or whatever. Help Corin out.
Thanks.
Laid off, rough time. I know a lot of people out there are going through a rough time, so we understand if you can't help, but would definitely appreciate that. But here's an idea. So let's start doing Kyle and Corin and posting it on your channel.
That'll be fire.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? Because then it'll hopefully get more views, right? We'll let everybody know right now. It'll be on Corin's channel, which is called Corin's World, from now on whenever we do a Kyle and Corin.
That's dope. I appreciate that.
I think that... No, of course, man. And it's not like... Unfortunately, the way it works is not like, hey, we moved it, so now literally everybody who watches it on our channel goes over there.
Of course.
But it's still... like, if people really want to see Kyle and Corin, then just go subscribe to Corin's World, and then you'll see when they pop up. So hook a brother up on Patreon if you guys can with $2 a month or whatever the hell. Going through a rough time, but also, yeah, I think we should do that from now on. We could post Kyle and Corin whenever we do them. We could post them to your channel, and hopefully that'll help out a little bit.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, it's rough, dude. It's rough out there. I mean, I'm hearing so many anecdotal stories of the same shit. People losing their jobs, private sector and public sector. And it's only going to get worse, man. It's only going to get worse. I just saw, before we came on, so 3 countries that historically have not at all been allies. China, Japan, and South Korea all got together and made a deal that if the U.S. tariffs them, they all retaliate against us, and they tariff us back. The European Union just came out and are debating whether or not to ban all American goods from Europe. All American goods from
insanity.
Europe. So because of what Trump is doing, like, I really don't think people realize what's happening right now. We are in the least stable time in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Like, we've been through some rough shit. We've been through some bad shit. Everybody knows George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, the Iraq War, all that shit, Guantanamo Bay, all that, like, terrible, terrible, terrible. But when I say literally on every issue, he's making us worse, like, I mean it. And, honestly, I think we're cooked. Like, I covered on my show the other day, 75% of scientists who work in the U.S. answered a poll and were like, yeah, I'm leaving. I want to go to Europe or I want to go to Canada, but I'm done here. And a lot of that is because of Elon's cuts. They're destroying our science, destroying our universities. And that's not something you recover from.
No,
that's called brain drain.
Yeah.
And you don't recover from that. You just don't recover from that. Like, if we're one of the best in the world when it comes to science and technology shit. But a lot of that is because we have the NIH and there's a lot of funding that goes into it.
Yeah.
But now, if you're like, we're done with funding science and, we think the private sector will pick up what they can do. No, they won't. No, they fucking won't. There's no return on investment for them. If you're developing medicine that's going to be created, it might take 20 years before you see a return on investment. No private investor is going to invest in that. And that's just one area, bro. Like, it is, we're in trouble. This whole country's in trouble. So, did you see this, that the top 3 fascism experts professors and academics
Uh-huh.
just fled the country. The top fascism experts were like, yep, I know what this is. I'm out. And they left. I mean, that's fucking, like, it's here, bro. It's here. It's not even some shit in the future. Like, this shit is happening now.
Yeah, that's insane when like all of our smart people start to leave and then we just get left with all Trumpers. It's like they're going to have to replace some of those scientists and people with some uneducated people. But are people noticing this stuff, or is it, like I said, they're doing so much stuff that people aren't even noticing? Like, is Trump's base happy with what he's doing?
That's a tough question to answer. So, like,
because they got to be
there's
losing
a
jobs
certain
and stuff
percentage
too, right?
So yeah, that's why it's a tough answer, because there's a certain percentage that are just never going to leave them. It's just that simple,
Yeah.
right? Like, they polled people about whether or not we should steal Greenland, and the low number I saw was 26% of Americans support it, and the high number I saw was 33% of Americans support it. So somewhere in that range, 26% to 33% are just barbecue chicken. Like, they are just, for real, they might as well have fucking oatmeal in their head. Like, there's no brain there. They're just cooked, right? So for them, they're just never going to leave him. I even saw one person lost their job because of Elon's cuts, and he's like, I still love Trump. And it's like, well, what am I supposed to do if you can't like, what are you going to let, you gonna let Trump fuck your wife? Like, what's next? What the fuck are we talking about here? So for some of them, they're never gonna learn.
Aye.
But the flip side of that is, to your point, there are, though, any ones that were like mildly pro-Trump, yeah, they're gonna leave him. They're gonna leave him because a lot of these people have lost their jobs. A lot of these people are gonna feel the crunch when there's tariffs on everything that comes in the fucking country, right? So, like, it's a mixed picture. He's gonna bottom out between 26 and 33%. That's his floor.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, how quickly can we get to that floor? And then the other question is, how quickly before people do some shit about it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you've seen the videos of these town halls. They're still going on where Republicans are just getting fucking reamed, where all these people are showing up like, fuck you, cutting my Social Security, fuck you, cutting the VA. 80,000 people, they're firing at the VA alone. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that going on right now. You see them on Twitter all the time. Whenever a Republican has a town hall, it's just like wall-to-wall furious people who are like, go fuck yourself. You're ruining everything. Like, what the fuck are you doing? So
yeah, I mean, that's
it's a little bit of both, right? Like, yeah, no, I mean, are people, like, a lot of people are, I'll say this. There's a poll that just came out. Only 23% of Americans now think their financial situation is going to be better under Trump. Only 23%.
Yeah.
That number was like, I'm sorry, maybe it was 26%?
Yeah,
I think it was 26%. And it was 43% or something like that, like in January, not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he dropped from 46 to 23 that quickly when it comes to, hey, how's your economic situation going to be? So, like, it matters to some extent, right? But the other question is, bro, what the fuck is going to happen in this next election when, like, Trump just signed an executive order that was basically like, I'm going to steal the shit. Like, that was basically, he might as well have named it the I'm going to steal this shit executive order.
Is that really going to happen? He could potentially run for a third term?
Well, okay, so yes, that's somewhat possible,
Wow.
even though it's unconstitutional. They might find a way around it. But even if it's not that, they've already floated the idea of, like, J.D. Vance will run, but Trump will really run everything.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to find a way to try to hang on to power, just like he did in 2020. He's going to try to find a way to hang on to power.
Aye.
And not only that, I'm genuinely concerned about the elections now, because they have their methods of, like, basically trying to purge all the people they don't want to vote from voting, right? They have all these tricks where, you didn't put your middle initial when you were supposed to in the ballot. We're throwing it out, right?
I just saw something with IDs. Do you need, like, or was there a new thing with IDs?
Yeah, it was part of his big executive order on the election. And there's a whole bunch of parts of it that are just bad. So another one was about, like, if the ballot comes in after election day, it doesn't count. But what that does is that disenfranchises Americans who live overseas and U.S. soldiers who are overseas, because sometimes you send it and, like, you send it a week before, but it might not get there until a week and a half.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of grace time after the election day. And they have all these ways of purging the voter rolls, right? Where, there's one person named Leonard Johnson dies, and they go, just take off all the Leonard Johnsons, right? Like, this is what the Republican states do, is these are old, like, Jim Crow rules that they apply, and they do it strictly.
Yeah.
And Trump's executive order is a way to try to bring that to the whole country, where every state does, like, ballot purges right, and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I don't know, man. It's not good.
And
It's not good.
You could clearly see
And
they're using like these AI apps because they used it for the DE&I thing to like get rid of all of like everything noted in some history books, and they got rid of like Jackie Robinson for something. So like, who's to say they can't just use that to your point, be like, get rid of all the John Smiths from our database or something like that. Like they have ways now easily to like clear out mass people, clear out mass like voting. Like if like they get a shit ton of votes that are for Democrats, and they're just like, get rid of 1/4 of the Democrat votes that we received in Georgia. Like
yeah,
there's
he
easy
also
ways
wants
to do all that stuff now.
and he also wants to, make like mail-in voting illegal.
Yeah.
Well, mail-in voting is, a lot of Democrats vote mail-in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's already, I mean, we had this journalist Greg Palast on the show who covers all this stuff, and he said that in the last election, Kamala was screwed out of over 3.5 million votes.
Wow. Oh, really?
And yeah, and so
I mean, she got roasted either
it's
way,
just-
though, right?
I mean, if those numbers are true, she would have ended up winning with 286 electoral college votes.
Oh, wow.
She would have barely won. So, but that's what I'm saying is like, I feels like everything's on the table now.
Yeah.
In a way where in the past it felt like, nah, we'll find a way out this shit. Now it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's a lot.
Because also they're acting like they're never gonna have to, be held accountable to the voters again. The shit that they're saying, the stuff that they're doing. That Commerce Secretary guy was like, my mom's 94 years old, and she would, if she didn't get her Social Security check, she just would be like, whatever, I'll get it next month. And he was saying that as in like, oh, if people call over losing their Social Security checks, they're fraudsters. They didn't actually lose it. Like, these are the people who are scamming the system. That's fucking crazy to say that. This guy's a billionaire. And like, the reason why your mom's okay is because you guys are fucking rich. Most people rely on their Social Security check to like eat and pay the bill. So, and like, they're coming for Social Security. I mean,
so he's legit going to try and cut Social Security?
Yeah, they're already doing it. They're closing 50% of the Social Security offices. 50%. 50%. They're also shutting down the phone line, which people use to make Social Security claims.
Oh, I can't even imagine what that phone line is like if somebody tries to... I tried to call unemployment today, and it was a 50-minute phone call.
Bro, but it's going to be even worse for Social Security. And by the way, it's all old people for Social Security. They don't know how to fucking use the internet and shit.
No.
So they're saying you got to go to an office, which we just cut 50% of them, or you got to go online, which they don't know how to fucking do. Yeah. The whole point is to try to collapse the system. I covered 2 stories of people who already got their Social Security stolen from them, and it was a whole fucking process to try to get it back. One of them they said was dead. He wasn't dead. The other person is a U.S. citizen who was born on U.S. soil in a U.S. military base in Germany. And they tried to say, no, he's not American, which is crazy. He's fucking American. And they're finding ways to they want to make the system collapse in on itself, right? And I've never seen anything like it, bro. So, it's all happening at once.
And so what is he saying the reason for cutting is to like save money again? And he's just, and
so his excuse for everything is we're getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. That's his excuse for everything.
What does that even mean?
But the problem is, none of it is waste, none of it is fraud, none of it's abuse.
Yeah.
We actually have like facts on this. We actually know like what the numbers are on this. We have the Government Accountability Office, which tracks all this stuff. Like, he acts like, oh, I'm doing this thing nobody's ever done. The Government Accountability Office looks for waste, fraud, and abuse. That's their job. The inspectors general look for waste, fraud, and abuse, and Trump fucking fired them within the first week being in office. So when he says that, what he really means is, all these programs I don't like, we're going to dismantle. And he doesn't like any programs that regulate him, like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, right? He doesn't like the Department of Education. Like, you saw they were firing fucking flight safety officials as the planes were falling out of the sky.
Insanity.
Yeah, and they fired, and then they had to beg to get him back, but they fired the top nuclear safety official in the country who looks after our nuclear weapons. Like, what the fuck? So they say, oh, we're getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. No, you're fucking not. You're
just mass firing.
They cut money from disabled veterans. They cut money from the VA, like fired 80,000 people at the VA, which is already understaffed. A lot of soldiers lost their fucking therapists and now they're like considering suicide. Like they're destroying this country. Everything good that the government does, they're like, let's just fucking cut it. Let's get rid of it. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
What I don't get is it's kind of like, to me, like an old versus new. Like I feel like a lot of the, like, obviously veterans, I feel like people who are newly out of like the the whatever Army, Marines don't like Trump. But then a lot of the young kids, like, this is very small, but watching the NCAA wrestling championships, and the kid from Oklahoma State was Air Force.
I saw that.
And he goes over and
is
like saluting his chief, and then he has interviews after, and he's like, he's my commander in chief. Like, I feel like he's got a lot of young support in people in the military who still like him and think he's doing well. But like, I just don't think that they're affected by any of these cuts, and they just see him as like this powerful guy, not realizing that he's ruining like their post careers and anything that like they'll try and do. But I think it's just like a young versus old, and a lot of young kids are just like young, dumb, naive, and don't realize like how a lot of this shit's going to affect them down the road.
Bro, there's a lot of propaganda, right-wing propaganda out there, and it works on a lot of people. It works on a lot of people. Like, think about if you are let's say you're like an 18-year-old boy, right? And like you're just interested in certain shit online, you listen to podcasts or whatever. Like, most of the time, you're gonna hear listen to some podcaster, whether it's a comedian or whoever, who leans right and like feeds you right-wing propaganda subtly for years.
Yeah.
Right? And then your default assumptions start to be like right-wing assumptions.
Yep.
And there's a massive, massive media problem here, right? Like, what do you do when the overwhelming majority of the internet, where all young people are, is right-leaning?
Yeah.
And like, the Democrats and liberals and leftists are just so far behind on that front. Like, what do you do about that problem? I mean, it's easy to say, like, we need to beef up on our side and have more shows and shit. And like,
they're feeding all this stuff. Even my feed is very like kind of right leaning, because I don't even follow
that's
Elon
Twitter
Musk,
for sure.
and I get fed all his content.
Yeah, no, that's Twitter for sure. Is literally just a totally biased right-wing echo chamber where they're doing propaganda on purpose.
Yep.
But like, even on like YouTube and shit like that, like, there's a lot of, if you're into anything, like let's say you're into like workout culture, well, a lot of that shit code's right-wing now, right? And so like, and on the Democratic side, people who like do what I do, or left-leaning people, there's no money in that, right? Like, there's no billionaires who are pumping our propaganda out there and funding the Charlie Kirk show and the Ben Shapiro show and all
this like gorillas in Africa or something like that, and like all like weird shark conservation.
Yeah, all the shit they made up. And think of like Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan was the #1 podcast in the world for how long? And like, he just went right-wing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard. A lot of politics is downstream from culture. And if culture is coding right, it's like people just sort of default to that. But to your point, as soon as this shit affects people, then they're like, oh, this is bad, right? And so it's unfortunate, but a lot of people, it's going to be, until it hurts them, they'll just think like, it's fake news, or they're lying about Trump or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing, right? Because this guy, all Trump does is lie. Like, he just, every time he opens his fucking mouth, he fucking lies. And the idea that like, oh no, it's the system or it's the media and they're the it's like, however many problems the system and the media has, like, they are 1,000 times more truthful than Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump repeated that lie about Social Security in his speech to Congress after it was already debunked to his face. 200-year-olds are getting Social Security check. No, they're fucking not. No, they're not. And so that's the other thing, is I don't know what to do to fight back against a movement which is just completely built on lies, where they just lie about everything all the fucking time,
Well, I mean, you do what you can with like independent media, but yeah, like I said, it's hard. I mean, I kind of am in that camp of, like I said, getting fed so much information where it's a point now where it's kind of like, I kind of, one, just tune out to it, and two, I don't really pay attention to it. But it's constant, like, left is bad, Democrats are bad, look what they're doing to us. and it's all lies, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of people that do buy into that um are hopeful that they're doing the right things, but they're not. There was one video I saw, and this was sad, man. There was a guy that must have been really down, but he got pulled over, and he was telling the cop that he was waiting on his pardon from Trump. So like, don't run his license because like he was waiting on, like, he kept repeating that he was waiting on his pardon and that like it hadn't come yet. So it's like there's a lot of people out there that like think Trump's actually doing stuff for them, and he's not. And it's sad. It's sad.
I, now, again, what happens though when all these people, when their mom's social security check gets cut,
Yeah.
or they go to the store and they realize their entire grocery bill is 25% higher because of the tariff bullshit?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what happens then? Right? It's like, I don't know. I'd like to think that people will wake up and just be like, oh, anything but this, please. Right? But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think there will, assuming that the election is fair.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a gigantic Democratic wave. We've had one special election so far since 2024. And in that special election, it was a Trump plus 15 district, and the Democrat won.
Oh, wow.
So there's already some evidence of like, yeah, people are fucking pissed.
So,
but like, we don't have time, man. There's no time
so what's
happening to wait for all this shit.
In Wisconsin, like, can we tell anything from that? Like, is Musk changing any minds on what he's trying to do? Is like the Democrat in the lead? Like, when is that election?
I haven't seen any polls on it.
Uh-huh.
But obviously Elon's trying to buy the shit. Like, he's just trying to buy the election.
Yep.
And he spent like millions and millions and millions of dollars. I forget the number, 17 million, something like that, on a fucking Wisconsin Supreme Court seat, which is fucking wild.
Well, that's why I'm trying to see if like that can be like a case study of like, will he change people's minds on that?
It's not even like, will he change people's minds? It's more like, will he be able to continue to buy elections?
Yeah.
And it's also important because if Elon spent all that money and then the Republican loses, that's at least a little bit of a sign to other Republican candidates that like, look, this guy, because Elon says, if you cross Trump, if you don't vote for what Trump wants you to vote for, I'll fund a primary opponent and you're going to fucking lose. So all these Republican politicians are terrified
that's why
of Elon Musk funding an opponent to them. Yeah. So if this guy loses, then it's a little bit of a sign of like, look, you got more freedom than you think you do to go against Trump. Because right now they're all lockstep. I mean, it really is a cult. I've never seen anything like it in politics before.
Yeah.
Where like they are just totally lockstep. It's humiliating. I mean, he could do anything and they defend it. He's literally just, they're kidnapping people and sending them to an El Salvador slave labor camp. And people are just like, yup, like the Republicans are just like, yeah, they shouldn't have been in the country and fuck them and they're criminals and blah, blah. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong? This is not the country.
And then how they're doing
we're supposed
it
to
too.
be growing up in here.
Like they created one of those AI cartoons of the lady who got arrested. Did you see like the White House Twitter feed looks like a meme account. It's like a parody of what they've done to the country too. It's a joke.
It's unfucking hinged, man. It's unhinged. But I really want to learn. Like, it was when I talked to my mom, it was interesting to hear her take. It's interesting to hear what your Marine buddy said. One of the things I've said, and I'm curious what your Marine buddy thinks of this, is that the second Trump tries to be like, all right, go invade Greenland, or all right, go steal Panama by force, I think everybody in the military should resign. I think they should all be conscientious objectors and be like, we're not doing that. This is fucking crazy. These people are innocent. This is like, we are the baddies. We are the baddies right now. And I'm curious what your friend would think of that, because, I mean, it's easy to tell, like, if we're 30 years down the road and then we look at this moment in history, everybody's going to say the same shit. Like, what the fuck was wrong with people? Yeah. Why weren't they fighting back against this? Why weren't they standing up? Why wasn't the military resigning? And the argument of like, I'm just doing my job. I was just following orders. That is not supposed to be a thing. That's what we learned at the Nuremberg tribunals after the Holocaust, is that when the Nazi, concentration camp guards were like, hey dog, I was just doing my job. Like I was just following orders. The court was like, how about you go fuck yourself? You're guilty.
Yeah.
Right. And like the same shit, I feel like the same shit, people got to live by that today and realize like, No, your grandkids are going to ask you, what the fuck were you doing in that moment when that fucking psychopath took over and said he's going to steal Panama and steal Greenland and take Canada and make them the 51st state? Like, it's crazy to me that it's even gotten this far.
They should have every serviceman and women watch A Few Good Men. But even in A Few Good Men, it took all the way to the end because they probably would have lost that case if Jack Nicholson didn't admit it. But I would say the same thing of like, didn't a lot of the servicemen know when they were evading Iraq that was wrong? And they still went forward and, did that.
So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. In the build up to the Iraq war, we were hit with 2 years straight of insane propaganda where they convinced the whole country that Saddam Hussein was allies with Osama bin Laden and he helped him do 9/11. And he's got weapons of mass destruction. His next move is going to be to fucking nuke us here. So we need to attack him before he kills us. Like, they spent 2 years trying to build a propaganda case to blame him for 9/11 and say he's got nukes and he's going to attack us. And so this is defensive. So they spent years building that case and brainwashing everybody, convincing everybody, Democrat and Republican alike. It was very few people like Bernie and Barbara Lee and like just a handful of people who were like, I just don't believe you, so fuck off, I'm voting no. But like, Bush had like a 90% approval rating after 9/11. And so everybody just sort of believed, like, why would they lie to us about this? They got to be telling the truth. Like, okay. So the difference between then and now is like, there's no fucking multi-year propaganda attempt to try to pretend like Greenland is about to invade Cleveland. Like, nobody's saying that, oh, they're about to nuke us. They're a threat to us, which is why you have people like my mom being like, what the fuck are they talking? Like, this is fucking crazy. Yeah. Trump is so stupid. He naively thinks like, oh, if I do a big war, the rally around the flag effect is going to happen, which means everybody's just going to support me and my poll numbers are going to go up. And I know he thinks that because he tweeted that during the end of Obama's time in office. He tweeted something about Obama's numbers are pretty bad. I think he'll probably attack Iran to make them go up. And so that's the way he thinks. But what he doesn't realize is the rally around the flag effect doesn't happen if you're targeting random countries that are like our fucking allies
and people
to fucking invade them out of nowhere. People are going to be like, fuck this. I didn't fucking sign up for this. Yeah. And so I do think there's that crucial difference, right? Where I have no doubt that every American soldier who was deployed to Iraq really felt like, I'm protecting my country. These people were responsible for 9/11. We're going to stop it, right? But this time, if you ask your buddy, hey, do you want to invade Greenland right now? He'd be like, what the fuck what the fuck are you talking about? And so I think that that's the difference, is that this administration is so incompetent and so insane and so stupid that they don't think they need a massive propaganda effort before they do an illegal offensive war where they annex and steal a country that's like one of our allies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it all, again, is like an age thing. I feel like he's out of the military, so like he would say, no, I can fight back. But then I think everyone who's probably active duty is on that mindset of like, I have to, listen to my commander in chief, and I don't know if a lot of the generals like appointed by Trump, or were they there for a minute? Like,
yeah, he basically fired everybody who's at the top level in the military. He basically fired everybody from the previous administration and brought in not just his people, but people who are like his people, like insane.
Yeah, so it's definitely a wrap. I mean, like, I don't think there'll be enough uproar of people who don't want to do it versus like the commanders in chief. Not the commander in chief, like just the higher military ranks to put a stop to it, But I did see something, and there was a clip on real time. Like, has Trump pulled out of some wars though too? Because like he seemed like he got stumped on a thing when the lady was like, he's pulled out, and Trump and Mar was like, yeah, but he kind of just did it cold turkey or whatever, and I kind of was like, well, he still just did it.
He didn't pull out of anything. That's bullshit.
Okay.
He literally didn't pull out of anything.
Okay.
He said he was going to pull us out of Afghanistan. He didn't. Biden had to do that. He said he was going to pull us out of Iraq. He didn't. He bragged about bombing Syria and occupying a third of it to steal their oil. He's always been a fucking warmonger, always. The difference is this time he's really ramped it up to the point where it is fucking. It's not just like normal asshole U.S. president warmongering. It's like, I'm telling you, he's bringing back like 1800 style imperialism and colonialism. With Ukraine, he's demanding 50% of all of their natural resources from now until forever. So he's like, you're going to give us 50% of your ports, you're going to give us 50% of your minerals, 50% of anything that you do to make money. We're taking 50% of that in order to give you continued support against Russia. But like, that's a fucking, like, you're setting up a situation where, of course, that's not going to last. You're just exploiting the entire fucking country. Like, what are you crazy? You think that's okay? You think people are going to be down with that? This is like Treaty of Versailles type shit. This is worse terms than what they got, which led to fucking Hitler. Like, it's so mind-boggling. And then again, he never said anything on the campaign trail about Panama.
Yeah.
He never said anything on the campaign trail about Canada or Greenland. And by the way, how many of these things, like, every day it's a new threat to a new country. Just yesterday he said threatened to bomb Iran. He also signed an executive order on his first day in office saying that the drug cartels in Mexico are terrorists, which would give him the ability to invade Mexico without Congress. So, like, what are we fucking doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah, he's gonna
are we really staring down the barrel of 8 fucking wars?
That's what I'm saying.
Deploying
like,
our troops,
going like across the whole like map, the whole world.
And at the same time, he's collapsing the economy. The stock market is tanking, cutting the social safety net. Like, this is mental. And then destroying the Constitution by saying we could deport whoever we want, even if they're a legal permanent resident, for any reason we want. We're just going to claim you're part of a Venezuelan gang. One guy got deported, and he had a tattoo for his 15-year-old autistic brother.
Oh.
And they said, no, that's a Tren de Aragua gang tattoo. We're going to deport you. There was another guy who was he's a gay barber, and they said he was in Tren de Aragua. They deported him. They're just and these people are in an El Salvador slave labor camp, and there's no recourse. They can't get a hearing. There's no due process. Nobody's coming to save them. They've just been disappeared.
Yeah, that's why.
Disappeared. And if they can do this to legal permanent residents, they 100% can do it to American citizens.
Yeah,
that's what I need people to understand. Once they say, hey, due process isn't a thing anymore, like, we just don't do that, we just do whatever we want with you, that is, 100% the next step is, I'm going to go after American citizens. They're already saying, we're going to monitor, if you want to come in this country, we're going to monitor your social media before we let you in. So now, like, what? If you've been critical of Trump and the Republicans, you're not allowed into the fucking country? Like,
who's even gonna like check all that though? Is what I'm saying. Like, are they gonna have a roll posted for like someone to look through?
ICE, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. They're the Gestapo. They're the fucking stormtroopers.
That would be a wild job. Like, that was part of my job, was to like scroll through social media and find influencers and stuff. Imagine having to take every single person who crosses the border's phone and scroll through their Instagram, scroll through their Twitter feeds to like see if they've said anything bad about Trump or like posted a photo with their homies that like they're like, oh, it's a gang photo. And they're like, no, we were just chilling one night and like.
Yeah, but like, it's already gotten so much further than anybody thought possible in the first place that like, I don't put anything by these people, bro.
No.
And that's a terrible. Okay, here's what people need to understand. There is a non-0% chance that Trump uses nukes within these next 4 years.
That would be crazy.
But there's a fucking chance. Here, you ready for another one? Here's another one. Ready? On April 20th, he signed an executive order on his first day that said, within 90 days, I want a report from Kristi Noem and Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense and the Secretary of Homeland Security. I want a report as to whether or not they think I should invoke the Insurrection Act over the invasion by criminal illegal immigrants. So what they're prepping here is, now those guys are sycophants. They're just going to tell Trump whatever they think Trump wants to hear, right? Yeah. And so the report will say, yeah, we think you should invoke the Insurrection Act and declare war on Mexico, lock down the southern border, and declare martial law. If you do that, that's Trump saying any protests are illegal. If you're caught protesting, we're locking you up. So on April 20th, that's the day. That's the day where it's like, that could be it for real, where it's like this country is just total fucking police state, lockdown, done with freedoms.
So April 20th, they give him the report, and then, sorry, say that again. He decides what he wants to act on?
On April 20th, they give him a report as to whether or not he should invoke the Insurrection Act over the border. The Insurrection Act is deploying the U.S. military in our own streets against our own people.
Oh, my goodness.
And
I feel like that happens already sometimes. I mean, you go to the airport and you see like military personnel there, and it's like, well, this is weird.
Yeah, but this is next level, bro.
Yeah, no.
This is literally our military on the border, and also, yeah, it's I'm declaring that all protests are illegal.
Yeah,
like it's that kind of stuff.
That's OD.
And on April 20th, that's the day where we're gonna learn. Because here's the thing, I want to think like, no, that's not gonna happen. But the other part of me is like, has Trump ever been offered more power and said, no, I'll pass? Like, no, the report is almost certainly going to say, we think you should do it. And then he's going to be like, bet, I'm going to do it. And then the other scary part is, so the court system, to give them credit, they've been honestly the best at resisting Trump to this point. And I'm impressed not only with the left-wing judges, but also with the centrist and the right-wing judges too. Mm-hmm. All of them have been like, nope, you can't do this. You can't do that. Good. You got to stop that. Elon can't cut that. They can't fire these people. He can't do this. He can't do that. They said, you know those people you just deported to fucking El Salvador? Turn the plane around. Bring it back. It's not, you have no legal right to do this. Here's the thing, though. He didn't fucking listen. They didn't listen.
You could just do that?
And what people are learning right now, what people are learning right now is this. The court system, the judicial system, relies on the goodwill of the other branches of government to abide by their rulings. So there is no like the judicial police or the judicial SWAT team or the judicial law enforcement, which can go and mandate, no, you're following this order, right?
Yeah.
And so since that's the case, it's a really weird position to be in because all the courts are saying the right things. They're doing the right things. They've said Elon can't cut these jobs and can't cut that funding and they got to rehire these people, etc. But what do you do when they just don't listen?
It's almost like a drug dealer and their grandma being like, hey, you got to stop dealing drugs. You got to stop. And then they just keep doing it.
And then it's like, look, on the one hand, I get it, right? Assuming there's a Democrat in power in the future, you keep fucking copious notes on what the fuck they're doing and all the laws they're breaking, and you sick a fucking beast prosecutor on their fucking asses, where you charge them with 514 different crimes and throw the fucking book at them and lock up Elon Musk until the end of time, right? So that's a good scenario.
Yeah.
But even when we talk about the good scenario, we're talking about how many years in the future, bro?
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, can we even get to that point? I don't fucking know. I don't know. And so I've been saying this now. I think a litmus test for Democrats for the next election, they should have to commit. Yeah, we're going to hold the criminals accountable who violated the law during the Trump years. We're going to hold the criminals. I mean, you saw the whole thing. Did you see this whole thing with Signalgate, they call it, where you had all Trump's top defense officials were talking to each other on Signal, which is already illegal, by the way.
Yeah, they added the guy to the text thread.
They added the fucking a journalist to it. And then they were like, but it's okay, don't worry. We weren't talking about any war plans. And then the journalist was like, oh, really? Here's your exact war plans that you sent me. And then he was like, Hegseth was like, oh, no, those weren't war plans. They were just attack plans.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea? Like, and these, again, everything they did is a crime. And then Tulsi Gabbard, the head of intelligence, gets in front of a committee and fucking perjures herself and says, there was no classified information in there. It's like, this is as highly classified as it gets. Literal direct war plans at the time it's happening. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So, like, that's just one example. Every day they break at least one new law. Yeah. Every day they've broken at least one new law, probably at least 6 or 7 a day. And I hope somebody's keeping copious notes on this shit, because if there's not eventually accountability for what we're seeing right here, then this country is cooked, because the precedent is set already that if they get away with this, the president can do whatever the fuck he wants about whenever he wants and no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Yeah. And then this is not a democracy anymore.
Well, here's my thing, though, is like, if someone's taking notes and if a Democrat becomes in power in the next presidential election, I feel like we're going to spend 4 years just trying to clean all this up and not even worry about anything that matters anymore. You know, it's like we're going to be so worried about the last 4 years and trying to hold people accountable that nothing's going to get done for the future. So back to your point of, are we cooked? I think we're cooked regardless of what happens. If Trump stays in power, if another Democrat comes in power, like, because it's just going to be like January 4th. Yes, it happened. It was really bad, but like they fucking did that shit for like 2 years of like trying to have hearings and meetings and money spent on like people who should go to jail. And ultimately, like, I don't even know what the fuck came from it.
They got pardoned. Trump got in there and he pardoned all of them.
Yeah. So
Literally
like
all of them.
all of that stuff that they were doing for years of like hearings and people talking and should this person go to jail got washed away, and it was like a waste of time. So it's like you would hope someone goes to jail for whatever amount of time, but then when the next crazy Trump comes into fucking power, they're just going to pardon all of them and let them free again. So like I'm not hopeful for anything. I do think there is going to be like one more crazy thing to happen, and like I'm envisioning, like, you know how in like North Korea, like Kim Jong Un has like a massive photo of him on a building, and the military's just prancing through the street. I feel like we're gonna have one of those here, where Trump's gonna do something wild, like on top of some building, he's gonna print out a huge photo of his face and just prance our military down the street, and like it's just gonna be a big parade for him, and it's gonna be some like power show.
They are already Republicans have already proposed bills to put his name on a $100 bill.
Yeah, it's wild.
To put his face on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
to name an airport after him. They're already doing all the shit. Usually this is some shit that you do like 30 years after a president is gone.
Yeah.
Right? He's at the beginning of his second term where he's fucking up this entire country, and they're talking about putting his name on a $100 bill and shit.
It's like they tried, to your point, Harriet Tubman couldn't even get something like, and yeah, I saw the, but it's like, I feel like anyone who shows that they're in favor of him, like look at Mayor Adams. I don't even know what he's going through anymore, but like he kind of did a whole 100. Is it 180 or 360?
180, 180.
180 on like his Trump stance, and just probably hoping that he's going to pardon him and kind of let him go off on whatever charges he was facing. You know, he saw an opportunity to ride his shadow because he knows that he would probably help him.
So the deal is Trump will give you a pardon if you basically run New York City however he wants.
Yeah.
So when he says, I'm going to send ICE in there, we're going to round up immigrants and we're going to deport them, you need to agree to that. That's why he did it.
Sad.
And I don't know if you've seen these other pardons, bro. He's literally just looking for the biggest like corporate criminals and fraudsters, and he's just pardoning all of them. Like he pardoned some dude who did this company, Nikola, which was like some electric vehicle shit, but he defrauded all of his investors and lied about every aspect of his company. And so he got sentenced to prison.
Doesn't surprise
but Trump just pardoned him. Some dude who set up this fake-ass media company where he pretended to have millions of views and be really popular, and he defrauded investors, and they impersonated some YouTube executive trying to get more money out of some banks. He pardoned that dude. He pardoned Hunter Biden's associate who did all sorts of crimes and stole from, like, Native Americans. And
why would he do that one?
Because that guy cooperated in the anti-Hunter Biden investigations.
Oh.
So everything is a corrupt deal. Everything is corrupt. It's so brazenly and nakedly corrupt. And it's just like, I don't know. It's so crass and it's so like unbecoming of what a democracy is supposed to be. I don't know. Can we put that genie back in the bottle? I don't fucking know, bro. I don't know. To your point, I think he will do a military parade at some point. Military parade is like the hallmark of this is an authoritarian country.
Yeah.
Like, democracies don't do that shit where it's like, here's our giant military. Look at our big tanks. Look at our missiles. Look at this. And everybody's like hailing the president. Democracies don't do that shit.
He's going to do it.
And he's going to fucking do that shit.
And he's going to put
he wanted to do it in the first term and they stopped him.
Oh, he did want to do that?
In the first term. But that was when he had some more reasonable people around him who were like, nah, we're going to not, let's not do that. He's going to do it this time. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he do it this time?
And it's going to be
who's going to tell him no?
Big ass picture of his face. Like the guy loves himself. I think he's going to do it.
No, I agree. I think he's going to do it. So what is your sister or your brother saying about all this shit?
Well, my sister she watches Breaking Points, and like she kind of I mean, she's fed up with everything. She's obviously frustrated, but she did, just land another job. But she's scared and nervous. Jed is more on the side of like, I got to wake up every day and still go to work, and like I don't really care what's going on type of mindset.
Oh, you're not following it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
I get that mindset just from the perspective of people trying to keep their sanity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I get the mindset of like, this is too much. It's something crazy every day. I'm just going to fucking check out and not look at it, because at least then you feel like you have a more clear head and you're not weighed down by external things,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
But like, again, eventually this shit will hit everybody. So like eventually he'll be slapped in the face with that shit, you know?
Yeah, and be forced to. Yeah, I know. And I could be wrong. I mean, like, but I'm pretty sure that's his take, is like, I still got to wake up. My kid's still crying. I still got to go to, jiu-jitsu in the morning, do this and that. But my dad is he hates Trump. He's a veteran. He has Social Security, and like he has a lot of stocks, and he's just like, every day the market's crashing.
The stocks.
Like,
the stocks are cooked.
Yeah.
Bro. The stocks are cooked.
And he's always like,
so how about,
does he take his stocks out? Like, I'm like, I don't know any of that shit.
So get this. So Crystal has some stocks. Yeah. And I told her right before the crash, I was like, look, this shit is gonna crash hard, bro. Like, this shit is gonna be up in smoke. It's gonna be like 2008, maybe even worse. And I'm telling you, just like call your people and be like, make my shit way more conservative. And she did it. And then like literally the next day, the shit fell off a cliff. And the reason I knew, here's how I knew. People are like, how the fuck did you know that? The reason I knew, and Ben Norton's talked a lot about this, he's a journalist, all these billionaire assholes who like run the world, they've been selling massive amounts of their stuff.
So they know.
And that's a sign that they fucking know. They know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen. And they're going, I'm going to protect my ass. I'm not going to be invested and lose all this shit. And so they sold billions of dollars. Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett and all these people were low-key starting to sell their shit off, right? And then you got Trump in there, and he's totally irrational, and he flips on a dime and changes
that, like,
policies on a whim.
Putting, what was it, American goods in Europe or something like that, like completely?
Well, they're debating that now. We don't know if they're going to do it, but they're discussing whether or not to stop
like,
all American goods.
That's a big discussion. Like, that's something that would have me shook right off the bat, to be like, let me take some of my money out of this shit.
Because these idiots act like the world can't respond to us or something, right? Like nobody could have anything that retaliates against us. Like, are you fucking stupid? Of course, this is a global economy. Like, what are you talking about? Of course, people can fucking take counteractions. And then the other thing is, we fuck over all our allies. Who the fuck would want to be our allies? Yeah. You're making these other countries like run into the loving arms of China because they're like, oh, they're way more stable than the U.S. is. At least they're good for their word if they make a deal. Whereas the U.S. is just, we're like crystal meth addicts or some shit, just acting like total psychopaths.
Mad unreliable.
100% unreliable. So yeah, man, it's rough, dog.
The one person or the two people that are probably right now like in prison hoping they get a pardon. I'm surprised he hasn't pardoned Diddy and just been on some like fuck it shit.
Bro, at this point, why wouldn't he do that? He gets away with everything.
That's what I'm saying.
It'd be a story for 2 days and that'd be it.
Yeah.
It would be it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Diddy's tried or is working some angle to try and get in touch with him to get a pardon. And then R. Kelly, I don't know if Trump was rocking with.
Did he know R. Kelly? I don't know if he knew R. Yeah, I don't know if he knew him. I know he knew Diddy. I don't know if he knew R. Kelly. But yeah, he might get around to it, man. He might get around to pardon him. Did you see that Sam Bankman-Fried dude?
Yeah, what
the
happened
crypto scam artist? He went to prison, but somebody found like notes he had, and on his notes were like ways to get out of jail. Number 1, go full MAGA. So he knew, like, bro, if I start like saying like, man, the deep state came after me, all these liberals and Joe Biden and Democrats and Trump has always been the shit. Then he knew like, oh, that might actually get me out of there because Trump will just be like, sure, I'll fucking pardon you.
So sad. I mean, isn't that? I mean, Trump said that back in the day, right? We were like, asked him if he was going to run for would he ever run for president? And he was like, I would do it as a Republican because they're dumb or something like that.
No, so that one's a fake quote.
Oh, really?
It's a shame, but that one's a fake quote.
I got it.
Yeah. There's only a few fake quotes out there. The other one that was fake that I fell for was when he said like, if the market goes down by more than 1,000 points in a day, that president should resign. It sounded like something he said, but that one was fake too. But most of the shit is fucking real.
Yeah.
Most of it is fucking real. But yeah, those two were fake ones.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of markets. I mean, like you see it with, I won't hate on her, but like Beyonce singing country music. She probably saw like, hey, there's a big market for country music. Her, Post Malone, that's a whole new audience. That's more money. That's more opportunities. It's more opinions.
Did you see what Kim Kardashian did? Kim Kardashian did a photo shoot in a Cybertruck, which is Tesla, and it was like a photo shoot with her Tesla robot.
What?
And I'm like, bro, we know that fucking Elon paid you like millions to do this. Like, who are you kidding?
Yo.
And also, like, just fucking trying to ride the wave. Like, the wave is already crashing against the rocks, you dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is already over. This shit is already fucking, it's such a fucking failure. And you're trying to ride that wave. I can't stand the people who do that, man. I can't stand the people who are like, finger to the wind. Hey, which way? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is this what you idiots want? Sure, I'll go in this direction.
I mean, you see that with all the trends. You see that with all the, popular, like Coney, all that weird stuff. But, like, I kind of feel bad for, like, Jed has a Tesla. There's, it's scary having a Tesla right now. You know, like, it's, like, to a point where
I would tell him to sell that shit. Sell that shit immediately, because those shits are getting vandalized everywhere, dog.
That's what I'm saying. Like, vandalized. I saw one crazy.
Burned down dealerships. Dealerships have been burned down.
Dealerships burned down, and it's sad because it's like before Elon went crazy, it was kind of like a very left leaning thing to get a Tesla. You know, like you were saving the environment, you were doing good, but now it's a target. Like, and it's even driving.
So people,
for me, I'm a regular ass dude. I'm like, Tesla, fuck that dude.
People are putting bumper stickers on their Teslas that say, "I bought this before Elon went crazy."
Yeah.
And so I get it, man, because look, those shits they're being burned down, like the dealerships are being burned down. But he brought it all on himself. Yeah. Elon did. He really did, bro.
Yeah.
Like he cut child cancer research.
Yeah,
who does that?
Yeah.
He takes $8 million a day in tax money and took $38 billion in total. But you're cutting child cancer research? Like, who the fuck are you? You're a South African robber baron and you're controlling our government illegally? Like, what the? Of course people are. And then he gets on TV and fucking starts crying about it. He starts acting like, oh, Tim Walz was saying he was celebrating my stock price going down. What a creep. What a jerk. Like, fuck you. Fuck you, bro. Guys, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It's kind of sad because it's like, I don't know if he's really, like, he's a human being. Like, he has to be affected by, that's what,
is he a human being?
Yeah, but like, isn't he affected by things? Like, doesn't he have a heart? Or
no.
like,
so this is what it took me a long time to come to this conclusion, but I'm definitely there now. I feel like left-leaning people and liberal people, we assume the best in people in the sense that we see the humanity in everybody. So we think like the same things I feel, the same things I think, the same insecurities, etc. that I have. Everybody's dealing with something like that. And you view everybody as like roughly equal in terms of their internal world and how they function, right? And how they think. Here's the problem with that. It's just not true. So like with Elon, and Trump, these are two great examples. They genuinely don't seem to grasp the concept of hypocrisy. Like if they accuse Democrats of something, then they do that thing. It doesn't register.
You think
they don't get
that?
it.
I feel like it's like so
and
obvious.
I'm not done yet. But they also, I really don't think they have any actual morality. They don't care about morality. They don't care about ethics, and they will do whatever is in their self-interest. Whatever is in their self-interest. And so you have to come to the conclusion at some point. It really is true. Some people are just fucking evil.
Yeah.
Like this, they are fucking evil.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to come to that conclusion. I was always the guy who was like, look, you can't just dismiss every Trump voter. Some of them did it for better reasons than others did, and you got to like try to reach out to people and try to, figure it out, etc. That was always me. But in this second term, with all the shit that's happened so far, my patience is gone. My sympathy is gone. Like, if you can't see what this is, I'm sorry. You're not on the team, bro. You're not. You're just not on the team.
Yeah.
You have decided, I'm going to throw my lot in with evil. So the reality is, and this is something all, I think, secular people, liberal people, leftist people need to realize, is that, like, good and evil absolutely exists. And what we're looking at here is fucking pure evil. It's what we're looking at. There's no other way you can describe threatening 8 different wars at the same time. There's no other way you can describe ripping up the Constitution and getting rid of due process. There's no other way you can describe any of this shit that's going on. The crashing of the economy, the cutting of child cancer research, the hundreds of thousands of people who are losing their jobs, and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They don't give the tiniest, slightest fuck. Cutting Social Security. Social Security exists so old people aren't homeless. And they're like, let's cut that.
I know.
Well, what do you call that? I can't say you don't actually have the same feelings and the same sense of humanity as others do. You just don't. You're just evil.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to agree with you. Like, you, as someone who has all that, you don't want to believe it, you know?
But it's true.
But it's true.
And, like, assuming their expertise, that's the other thing. Like, there's so many people, and you thought this too early on, but I think most people did. This assumption of, like, well, I mean, Elon's got to be a genius. He's a fucking billionaire. He's like a science-y tech dude. He's involved with cool shit. And I think a lot of people in society, probably most people, even maybe to this day, most people feel like he's got to be, like, really smart or something. No, he's fucking not. He's a total fucking jackass. He's a total idiot. He's a liar. He basically bluffed his way to the top. He was caught doing like 12 different scams, and for some reason, people don't even know that the shit he was doing was a scam. He didn't even found Tesla. He didn't found it.
I didn't know that.
He came in after and, like, wrestled the rights from people and pretended like he fucking found it. Founded it. So, I mean, this is like, bro, it's like everybody's walking around with this delusion or this illusion that they've fallen for, and it's like, I'm just trying to wake people up. Like, dog, you gotta realize what we're looking at here. We're looking at it like a literal supervillain. He's named after a Nazi from a sci-fi book. Elon. That's where his name comes from. A book written by a Nazi.
I didn't even know that.
That's where his name comes. His grandparents were Nazis. They were fucking Nazis. This is all well documented. His dad moved to apartheid South Africa because he liked apartheid. Like, this is who he is. This is where he comes from. All his shit about, like, oh, we're gonna go to Mars. He's plundering the government and looting the treasury in part because he wants to fucking send us to Mars. He doesn't give a fuck what happens on this planet. He wants to go to Mars. This is like he's like a comic book super villain. It's what people need to understand.
Yeah. And it's scary. I mean, it scares me. And again, I don't want to believe it.
I think it scares everybody, bro.
But hopefully the tide's turning on him, and hopefully one day Trump turns on him as well, and he gets what he deserves.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that that's the case. But Crystal floated a theory that I can't get out of my head, which is that they made some sort of a financial deal together, which is why Trump hasn't broken up with him yet and why he's not going to break up with him. If he never breaks up with Elon, then yes, you're right. Like, then she's right that they had a deal. Yeah. And so the thing she said is, like, you know that crypto scam coin that he ran 2 days before the inauguration where he made millions of dollars? The like tech oligarch bros came up to Trump and were like, look, we'll make you mega rich and we'll keep you out of prison and we'll make sure you become president by giving you all this money for your campaign. But in return for that, you have to let us run the government. And right now it looks like that's what's happening. Right. But, like, if at some point Trump breaks up with Elon, then maybe that's not the case.
Yeah.
Then maybe Trump is actually under Elon's spell. Yeah.
I feel like always with that guy, and it's been just clockwork, is just like power rules everything for him. And once he feels like he's not powerful anymore, you know, like, I mean, people are going to Elon for stuff, but Trump's still in power. Once I think he loses that feeling, I think at some point it's inevitable that, like, they break up, you know, money or not. Trump can make his own money and eventually get to a point where he won't need Elon's money. And that's when I hope that, you know, he flips on him. But at the end of the day, Trump's going to be the last man standing.
Yeah,
he always is.
I mean, he always seems to be. The other thing is, like, why does everybody feel like he's going to live forever, right?
Yeah, well,
like, everybody
too.
feels
I mean,
like that.
His age at some point is going to have to be a
But
factor.
it feels like it doesn't. Like, he just keeps going.
I know.
Like,
That's how I feel about Ric Flair. Like, he had that scare one time that, like, he was going to die. And then now they're still like,
And then he just kept going.
Yeah, he's still doing podcasts and stuff. I'm like, yeah, aren't you gonna?
Yeah,
like,
we're like a decade later,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, I'm like,
It's like a decade after that shit happened. Yeah, I don't understand how it works. Like, when you're as fat as Trump is, you're not supposed to live to like 80 years old.
No.
Like, there's very few 80-year-old fat people, and he's pretty fucking fat.
I feel bad for whoever has to like put out these memes or like start these trends. There was one of him walking through the grass, and it was like, how can someone be this age and be so slim and fit and like?
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, who makes this? And like, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to know now, like, what is real and what's totally fake.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's so many, like, AI slop accounts that are now, like, made to look kind of real.
Yeah.
And so many of the things that they post are like, nobody actually believes that, right? Like, what the fuck is this? You know, I actually follow some accounts that I know are AI because sometimes they tweet some fire memes. But, like, yeah, it's really weird. Like, it shouldn't even be legal.
No.
Like, Facebook is basically all AI slop now.
Yeah.
Just totally fake bullshit that they pump out. Like, why is this legal?
It's scary.
Why is it legal to just, like, have robots posting shit 24/7, manipulating the public square? Like, none of that should be legal.
Yeah. At least now they're doing it in cartoon form. So, like, you can see these, like, the cartoon is fake. But, yeah, I don't know what's real, what's not real anymore. And, like, I don't really even spend time trying to figure it out. I'll just maybe ask you. But there's a lot.
I mean, I don't even know every time now.
Yeah.
I don't even know every time now. Have you played around at all with AI? Like, have you played around at all with, like, have you ever used Grok on Twitter?
I haven't.
Or anything like that?
I haven't. I use
Okay.
ChatGPT is the extent of what I've used, like the free version.
Oh, so you have used ChatGPT?
Yeah,
okay.
But just to, like, help me with an email. Like, they'll clean up, throw some commas in there.
Yeah, so next time you want to Google something, go to Grok on Twitter and just type whatever you were going to Google, just type it into Grok.
So what even is Grok within X?
Yeah, Grok is in X and is literally just on the side. You could see it says Grok. Just click Grok, and then you just type in whatever you want to ask it.
Oh.
And it's already kind of scary because it's pretty fucking good. Like, you can ask any question. You could say, give me a list of Trump's executive orders from the first day. Keep it short. And it'll just boom, 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 boom. It's like a better Google at this point.
Damn.
Where Google used to have a decent search engine, but now I feel like it's way worse than it used to be, where they don't give you exactly what you're looking for right away.
Yep.
But like Grok or ChatGPT and they're just good search engines where you could type in anything. And the thing with Grok, like, you've never played with the AI picture generator.
No.
You could type in anything. Be like, show me Kyle Kulinski playing tennis with Tiger Woods, and it'll show you Kyle Kulinski playing tennis with Tiger Woods, and that shit'll look real as fuck.
Yeah, that's scary, and it's cool, and it's, like, fascinating, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole of, like, doing that shit, but I've started with the ChatGPT, and I kind of asked Davina. I wanted to see what a cartoon would look like of me, so I asked her to do one of those because I think you need, like, the premium version or some shit.
Oh yeah, for you, you'd have to, like, put a picture of you in, and then they make a cartoon, right? Yeah.
But yeah,
that
no, I
makes
do
sense.
have to try the Grok one. But it's scary, and it's to a point where it's like there's not going to be graphic designers anymore. Like, that shit's going to take away a lot of jobs from people too.
I'm telling you, man, and all these fucking idiots who act like, oh, it'll be great.
Nope.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
We have record income inequality, record wealth inequality. Nobody has a right to, like, a living wage. Not everybody doesn't get Social Security. Like, what's going to happen is more income inequality, more wealth inequality. They're going to fire a bunch of people. The rich are going to get richer. Then there's going to be a fucking revolution because people don't have a pot to piss in for the bottom 90%.
Yeah.
It's like the people who think, like, we'll just keep going with AI and then we'll figure everything out when the robots take over. It's like, are you fucking insane? I know those people think it'll be fine because they're worth millions, but, like, regular people can't. Like, if people's jobs start getting taken, I mean, now when you go into a McDonald's in some places, there won't even be anybody behind the counter. You got to type. You got to put it into the shit.
One person working there because it's like everything's self checkout.
And that shit is not good. It's not good for society. Like, that is not good for society. Because at what point do you take away too many jobs where the whole fucking economy, the house of cards, comes tumbling down because nobody gave a fuck about the bottom 90%?
And then there's going to be
like,
crime
we're
and
fucking
stuff
flirting with that
everyone
shit.
Just be like, yo, I'll just steal this hair gel. There's only one old lady working in the corner restocking the shelf.
That's exactly right, bro. I mean, that's like it's everything's falling apart, dog. But we asked Grok
Yeah.
if like if Kyle Kulinski ran for president, give me what his platform would be. That shit was pretty fucking good, bro. That shit hit me like 95% right.
So it'll like
It
just pull all your
laid out.
information from videos and
It uses, I'm sure, videos. It uses like if I have a Wikipedia on
Wow.
me, it uses articles involving me, and it'll just pull together like Kyle Kulinski would run for president as a social democratic politician, and he would want higher minimum wage, universal health care, Medicare for all,
Wow.
paid time off. Like it would list everything.
That's wild.
And it's like I remember reading that, like, damn, that's sort of crazy
did
that
it
they
in,
could
like,
just
2 seconds,
sum me
right?
up. Did it in 2 seconds, and the only thing I'll say is it got like 95% correct, but there's like 5% missing, where it's like I wouldn't exactly do that. Maybe I do it a little differently, or they missed this thing that I would do. But like, yeah, it was
scary.
It was pretty amazing. Yeah.
What?
That is scary.
Did Elon sell X to like himself or some shit? I was just curious
so there
about,
was
like,
some
what happened.
sketchy ass shit that went on where he sold it to like one of his other companies or something.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where if we had a functioning SEC, they would investigate it and figure out like what the fuck's going on there. But since we don't, it's just like crime is legal.
Yeah, it was like the next day it was good.
Bro, the SEC came out and said that Haley Welch girl, the Hawk Tua girl who went viral, she, you know how she did like this scam coin? They cleared her. The SEC cleared her. And it's like, that was the most obvious pump and dumb scheme I've ever seen in my life. It's totally fraudulent. They were just like, nope, she's good.
Ugh.
Yeah, we're cooked. We're cooked.
Cooked.
But anyway, all right, guys. So, everybody go subscribe to Corin's World. I'll put that in the link below. Also, I'll put Corin, send me your Patreon link. We'll put that below as well. Hook a brother up with that. So go subscribe to Corin's World. Hook a brother up if you can.
Appreciate
with
you
a couple bucks on Patreon. And as I said, definitely subscribe to Corin's World, because from now on, when we do Kyle and Corin, we're going to post it on Corin's channel.
That'd be dope.
So, all right, y'all. Much love. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.